The title of this podcast is What's in the Way is the Way. This is something that I've learned over a bit of time now that the things that I want to resist or avoid are actually the things that help me become more conscious, help me to have a more open heart, be open to new experiences, and open to grow. And when I have embrace that, I've been pleasantly surprised by what has happened. I'll give a couple examples in my personal life and then share one about a dear friend of mine. One of them has to do with, a new leader coming in, and I took her approach because it was different from her predecessors. I saw it as a threat, and that was a mistake on my part. Instead, what I could have seen it as an opportunity for me to grow. And if it wasn't to develop a new skill or something like that, at least I could have grown to in the space of acceptance that this was different and I was going to make the most of it. Her approach was really rooted on scalability. And how that translated to Keith 1.0 was is that by being so focused on scalability and doing what I characterize as these shallow initiatives that you were missing the deep or the depth of the work. The impact would not be quality. And I soon found that once I gave that narrative up, I watched how her approach, while it may not have been, as deep, which is subjective, that opinion, but what it did do was the exposure was significant. And she brought a lot of people into the awareness of our work that weren't there before. And she was able to engage more people than we had been able to do in previously. So for that, I thank her. And I also want to acknowledge myself for really being open. And that was really kind of a game changer for me in this space. Another example has to do with my good friend who is a surgeon at Mayo Clinic, and he is the top in his field, has been doing it a long time. He's got 50,000 hours of mastery, and he is just amazing, and he has this curious mind. A few years ago, when robotics was really being embraced, um, he hadn't quite begun to interact with it and a junior person was kind of critical of that and how he was from the old school and things like that. And I think initially he resisted that. He didn't care for that assertion about himself. And little by little, he started to become open to it, and he embraced this idea of learning robotics for his cases. And the moment that he opened that up, the relationships that he built across the enterprise, his stock or his reputation soared as being someone who's open. People benefited from his knowledge that he brought, from the way that he led surgeries and all the things that he saw and his vision for how to make things have an even deeper impact. And all this it was the result of him seeing that what was in the way was actually the way. And this applies to, I think, every area of your life. If you're going through something financial, then dealing with that and learning how to handle that is the way to financial freedom. And even if the the practical part of that is slow to be realized, the internal psychological part of being financially free can happen very quickly if you become open to it. The same is true if you're going through a relationship transition and you're resisting, the relationship ending for whatever reason that may have led to you and your partner going a separate way or your friendships coming to an end. If you choose to say, hey, listen, I'm going to walk through this and I want to do it with an open heart, you know, because you think that the breakup itself is what's in the way, but That's not what's in the way. What's in the way is your inability to handle it. So if you just make it about handling this and I'm gonna grow through the process and be a better version, the best version of myself, then it becomes something that you can benefit from. Same thing goes for divorce, same thing goes for loss and all the other things. So just remember, what's in the way is the way.